Welcome to Wizards Outlook. Joined as always by Raymond Lyons. We got Cardo Dudley Jr. I'm Wilson Tarpe Jr. Washington makes a 7 straight with a 129-109 win over the Oklahoma City Thunder. Cardell, we'll let you get started first tonight. Just real quick, your initial thoughts on Washington winning its 7th consecutive game.
Experience. Just the experience of the Wizards was way too much for the Thunder. I feel like Brad Beal and Russell Westbrook, they just had their way all night. None of the Thunder could guard them. Russ, he struggled shooting the ball on Monday night against Oklahoma City. They threw Baisley at him. And for those that don't know, Baisley about 6'8", has a 7-foot wingspan, and highly athletic. So, kind of threw Russ off guard, but I knew him coming back, and I believe this was his first game at Oklahoma since he left. I knew he was going to be on one, so he adjusted. He took it right at Baisley, and Baisley, he didn't give Baisley a chance to react. He just took it at him, blew past him, got to the lane. Had himself a hell of a night. 37 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists, 14 or 23 from the field, 3 or 4 from deep. 6 or 7 from the free throw line, only 3 turnovers. Nothing else needs to be said. He dominated. He killed him. So he taught the young fella a lesson tonight. And Brad Beal was right there with him outside the turnovers. 7 turnovers. He kept stepping on the line on the 3-point range for some reason, man. But yeah, I know he was killing Scott Brooks, man. But other than that, man, he had a near flawless game. 33 points, 12 or 24. 4 or 6 from 3-point range. And, they did what they're supposed to do. Raul Neto quietly keeps, and since he's been in the starting lineup, he keeps, giving them high production defensively, taking charges, getting in opposing guards, grill, making them uncomfortable, and scoring. 15 points, dishing the rock, 5 assists, 4 rebounds. Bertans, his shooting is becoming consistent. You know what I'm saying? He's validating what they felt he should be. And this is what we're saying. He's on a streak where he's hitting about 4 or 7 from the field, from deep every game now. So, now that he's on target, it ain't even a threat no more. Teams are literally just staying with him, you know what I'm saying? Which opens the floor tremendously for the other guys to do what they need to do. And, that's what it was, man. It was just experience. They came in, the goal obviously was to come in here, handle business, get the win. And, stay on track to, for the play-in spot, stay on track to get in the playoffs and whatnot. And they did just that, man. And, Lopez, he didn't, he didn't have his typical game with the, 15 to 20 points with a myriad of hooks. Daniel Gafford, it's his second straight so-so game. Teams, putting him on a scouting report now. They're not letting him get easy points, easy lobs and stuff. Yet, the Wizards are still finding a way to win the game, man. That's what it's about, man. On the Oklahoma City side, they got some young prospects, man. We just gotta keep it real, man. They got some youngins they can build around. This was all. I mean, keep in mind, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander hasn't played. None of the. I don't know. Did he play? No, he didn't play Monday. He didn't play Monday or today. So, with Baisley development, we know what Shai could do. We know what Lou Dort is, and I'm gonna get to Baisley in a second. They got some great young pieces. I like what Roby brought, Maladon. They weren't scared. They just don't have the experience to rubber with Bill and Russell Westbrook. But very soon, they're going to be a problem, man. So Oklahoma City should be proud. They got some youngins to build around. And but back to Baisley, I love Baisley, man. He's like he caught a lot of flack when he committed to Syracuse, and he took the I'm gonna chill for a year, train, and then I'm going to the league. He signed with Clutch. Clutch put him up for a year, got him ready, and he had an up and down rookie year, which was expected. But this year is like he's turning the corner, man. And what you saw from him tonight, what he's showing lately, is what I saw when I first saw him at Top 100 camp, which is what Wilson has posted, man. That point forward skill that's rare in a 6'9" build. I know when I talked about him on the show when he came out with it was a 2017 NBPA Top 100 camp, along with that skill and the size and the 7-foot wingspan, he got bounced. Like he was floating out there. It was sick. So I'm like, all he got to do is get strong and put it all together. and it's gonna be a problem. And you can see that's what OKC is doing. Letting him be he wasn't a point guard, but they let him be a point forward. You know what I'm saying? And when I talk with other scouts there after his performance there, where he was one of the top players there, let's just say Scottie Pippen name got thrown around as a comparison. That's his ceiling. You know what I mean? Which is if you can reach Scottie Pippen, you're a Hall of Famer. You should shoot for that. You kind of see it starting to blossom, man. He's a unique talent, and when he really figures out the NBA game and the NBA level, it's going to be a problem at OKC with him and Shai. I love what Lou Dort. He's developing as well. He's more than just a defender now. You got to guard him. His offensive game is on developing. I think people forget he was putting up numbers at Arizona State. So they got a good collection of young talent, man. They just got to keep growing. Same with Roby. But it's the Wizards, man. They in playoff mode. They're not going to play around with these young boys. They're going to get them up out of there and move on to the next one, which is what they did tonight, which is what they should continue to do.
Right.
Yeah, man. They eventually took care of business. Took a little longer than I would have liked, but that those are the breaks, man. A win is a win. The first half they couldn't take care of the basketball, and that allowed OKC to stay in the game. Like Cardale mentioned, they got a lot of youth and athleticism, and when you get in live ball turnovers and allowing those guys to get out and run and get easy baskets, it ain't gonna do nothing but boost their confidence. So they hung around for a while until the Wizards just kind of buckled down and and settled things. Westbrook, man, he was amazing tonight. I figured he was gonna come in kind of juiced up, especially with this being his first game back there and having a subpar performance, and then when OKC came to Washington. So and he kind of steadied the ship early when things was a little rocky for the Wizards. So they needed him to be Westbrook early on. They weren't defending well. They weren't taking care of the basketball, but in that first half they shot the lights out. And that extended into the second half, except they just ramped up on the defensive end a little bit. First half they shot 54% from the field, 61 from three, 100% from the line. But they committed 11 turnovers, and OKC scored 17 points off them turnovers. So that's kind of what allowed them to stick around. But yeah, man, the Wizards they got another it was another total effort, from everybody on the roster. People are starting to have to account for Gafford now and Lopez and Neto, but the more attention you got to pay to them, that just allows Westbrook and Bill to get loose even more. So that's kind of the importance of having multiple people contribute on a consistent basis, and Bertans as well. His shooting is spreading the floor. So I mean it's you got to pick your poison, and I don't think anybody's going to neglect Westbrook or Bill in favor of any of those other guys. So so as long as they stay consistent and produce, it's just going to make it that much easier for the Wizards as a whole. But yeah, man, another good win, keep the winning streak alive. They're getting it done, man. Like it's really not too much to say, like we always say, we're gonna get on here and talk about what happened. When they're not getting it done, we got to talk about that. And when they are, like they have been for the last 7 games, we just got to tell it like it is, man. They're playing well. They're getting victories. They're continuing to to kind of get closer and closer to locking up this playing situation. And it's basically in their hands. They just continue to take care of business, then they'll be in that spot. But yeah, man, they kind of getting some. They're gelling. They're being consistent. Rui is still out, but other guys are stepping up. So man, just take it a game at a time. Next man up mentality, and that's pretty much all you can ask for at this point.
Yeah, just to add in a little bit, It was a good win. You're supposed to beat Oklahoma City, like Cardell said, like Ray, you mentioned. You did what you're supposed to do. Took probably a little bit longer. Not surprised about the type of game Russ had tonight. Every one of them folks that were part of that OKC team at one time, every one of them has shown shown out once they finally get a chance to play back in front of that and play in that building again. Russ had a really great night, really clean floor game. You got a lot of the contributions from Anthony Gill were huge tonight, coming off the bench, because you're going to need some people just to fill in the gaps while you're missing Denny, while Rui's still out. I think he had 10 boards tonight. I got to go back and double check. But Neto's, like you guys mentioned, he's been really good in the starting lineup. The fact that he's able, he gives them another floor spacer in that lineup, even though obviously he's missing the size that some other guys have. That front three of Washington helped them get the edge on the glass tonight. You saw them protecting the rim at times. OKC's missing shot. It's a big piece for that young group. Still, you see where they can possibly go. The Poku kid, Pokusevsky, it's fun to watch. You mentioned Baisley already. Dort, Roby, who didn't play against Washington earlier this week. It's fun to watch them. But again, you got 70 points from your starting backcourt. It's the reason they get paid what they get paid. Handle business. Now, the important thing is, again, we were talking about Washington taking advantage of the schedule to close this month. You got Cleveland on Sunday, and a back-to-back with San Antonio on Monday. You take care of those. Again, like Ray said, one game at a time. If you're able to come out of that, on the other side of that, who knows what the standings look like 2 weeks from now, possibly. We know how jumbled things are in the East. So it'll be interesting to see what that looks like if they take care of business come the end of Monday night. And we'll make sure we definitely take a look at the standings. Ben, did you guys have anything else to add to this particular game, or did you want to slide to the comments?
Yes. Yeah. Shout out Anthony Gill.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Think he froze, but he'll be right back. You good, Cardo?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I thought you were. All right, cool.
I was saying shout out. And I was saying shout out Anthony Gill. He had a good production off the bench as well. Replacing Bonga, who wasn't up to par tonight. So, he don't get a lot of minutes, but he stepped right in like a vet. I know he spent a lot of his career overseas, stepped right in and did what a vet does, produce. They stay ready. So I want to give him a special shout out. I thought he was key in this game, keep the momentum going. And on the Wizards, they're right now they're the hottest team in the league along with the Clippers. They won 7 straight, but they're 9-1 in their last 10. So the Clippers. So yeah, they should have the league's attention right now. And I know the Cavs lost tonight, which means Wizards got sole possession of the 10th spot. They're a game up on the Bulls and Raptors, so they gotta keep winning, man. But that Cavs Wizards game, Wizards got to take care of business against them, especially against everybody. But yeah, especially against them, because it literally means momentum in that play-in area, going up and down the standings.
Yeah, and that's a big opportunity because I think they got the Cavs twice before the end of this month. So big opportunity to put.
Well, the end of this week. They got Sunday and Friday.
Gotcha.
They got Sunday and Friday.
That's the second time in 2 weeks. That's the second time in 2 weeks where they got one team twice in a week. Because they had a Thunder twice this week. Got the Cavs twice next week. Technically, yeah, that's.
And in between, they got the Spurs. You guys still deal with Popovich and DeRozan. And then you got the Lakers. You never know. I mean, AD back, so I expect him to be in better rhythm when that game pops up. And LeBron might pop up on the scene. You know what I'm saying? So they got to handle business.
For sure, but again, like we've been telling you guys, they control. They play a large part in controlling their destiny right now. It's on them, and that's all you can ask for at this point. Is that it is in your control. Can't blame it on anybody else from here on out. You take care of business, you be where you need to be. All right, on to these comments. As always, we appreciate you guys tuning in, whether it be on Instagram, Twitter, and or Facebook. The YouTube commenters, you guys are outstanding and always at it. Just a reminder, if you guys, when you're watching live, feel free to chime in live, put the comments on screen. If not, I'm sure I will look forward to seeing your comments. We got a day off tomorrow, at least from the Wizards, and we'll see you guys on Sunday with your comments from this game. Should be pleasant. Like, Russ had a great game. Everybody's good, but we'll see. We'll see. It's always interesting once we get there. It's from Troy. Glad you're giving Coach Brooks his kudos. This feels like the 2016-2017 season. Started off 6-12, then went 15-2 during that January to February run. Gafford providing that bench boost like Bogdanovich did that season. Give Scott Brooks a healthy roster and time for the team to gel, and he will at least get you in the playoffs. Now, like you said, on the GM to keep the team together. Ray, you can start with this one, Ricardo.
Okay, cool. Yeah, man. I mean, it shouldn't be beyond expectations to speak positively about somebody that's doing a good job. And even in the times when the Wizards struggled this season, like, I mean, keep things in perspective, man. He had a makeshift roster. Having to go up and down the lineup a lot because people were in and out due to injury or what have you. It's just people just got to be objective, man. Like, I don't understand what they expected him to do with the situation he was given, but yeah, man. At this point, you gotta give credit where credit is due. We talked about last time about how he's able to keep morale high, even in the midst of turmoil, and Lord knows they had their fair share this season. So yeah, man, people got to stop acting like it's painful for them to to acknowledge when somebody's doing their job well. But like, yeah, man, it's like we've never said Scott Brooks is the greatest coach in the league or anything like that. But if you give him something to work with, he's able to yield positive results. As we've seen throughout his coaching career. And it's and I think people think that accountability and being realistic can't go hand in hand. Like when they weren't doing so well, there's reasons for that, and a lot of those reasons fell way short of Scott Brooks coaching. So yeah, man, that's all. Just be objective, be realistic, and make sense when you're making comments about about somebody's job performance.
Cardell, you want to chime in?
Yeah, I mean, I always felt Scott Brooks was a quality coach. That's just the only people that really criticize him are, you know, the coaches at lower levels who feel like they could do a better job because they compare their level to the NBA level, and we all know that's not the same level. You know what I mean? So, you get all types of wild ass comments and stuff like that, suggestions and stuff. But when he has talent, he wins. He gets to the finals. I just don't really understand the criticism of him at all. When they've had quality talent, they've been in the playoffs trying to rumble. You know what I mean? But when they haven't, they lost. I think Kobe said it best. They was when people try to criticize Phil Jackson, saying, well, he won those championships because they had Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Kobe Bryant, and Shaq. And you know what I'm saying? And Kobe was like, well, name a great coach that didn't have great talent. I'll wait. And you can't name one. So that's the difference. And the one thing I feel like Scott Brooks doesn't get credit for enough for is developing. He will take raw prospects and develop them into players. You're looking at one right now with the Washington Wizards, Russell Westbrook. He wasn't even a starter on his college team. He wasn't even starting point guard. It was Darren Collison. I think Josh Shipp was at the 2. You had Luke Mavute at the 4. Then you had Kevin Love. And I think Russ was 6 man. But they saw enough in him where you're obviously scouting. You see him in practices. You know what I mean? You see him in the summer, stuff like that. That's the stuff the NBA scouts see that the average person don't see when they draft people and then they get to judge and like, what, you don't see everything. But the NBA staff does. So he coming there, and Scott Brooks talked about it the other night on the post game. He was saying a lot of people just felt Russell Westbrook was just going to be probably a quality 6 man for his career. He turned out to be much more than that, and that was pretty much based off the development of Scott Brooks when they were both in OKC when Russ was younger. So, give that man give that man credit, man. It is what it is, dog. And he's always been very big on that since he came to DC on developing young talent. Because if you can't attract free agents, you got to work with what you have. So you better be able to develop young talent, and that's the key. And a lot of teams just ignore that. And then they trade him away. They go to other organizations, and this young talent blossom. Look what he's done, Thomas Bryant. You know what I mean? Who the Lakers threw away. We can go on and on about some of the young talent that has grown and stuff. And that's the one thing I love about him. So I feel like he's a quality coach. Give him a chance with a lot of talent, and you'll see what he can do with it.
All right. On from Derek Johnson, I have to give Scott Brooks and whichever assistant coach credit for coming up with the defensive scheme against Steph. Steph was harassed all night long. The constant pressure and deceptive traps caused him to miss the few open shots he would normally make. They never allowed Steph to get comfortable. I love defensive basketball, and this was fun to watch from an X's and O's standpoint. Cardell, you got first dibs on this one.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. He definitely drove some nasty traps, man. They came from everywhere, man. He had bodies on him, but you also got credit guys like Russ and Neto and all the other guys, all the bigs, Gafford and all them showing and staying disciplined. That's the thing with Steph. You got to stay disciplined because he'll tear you up. I think he's more dangerous off the ball because he can run, set the screen, pop out real quick, and the shot's up. He don't need a lot of room to get the shots up. So you got to stay disciplined. Don't fall for that. And go for there. And basically what they did was say, hey, I know Wiggins was off. That hurt Golden State, but they was basically saying, Draymond, you want to score some points, brother. You ain't about to be up here just assisting and letting stuff go off. So, and that was that. We all know Draymond, without no disrespect at all due respect, he's not going to score 30 or 40 to make up for Steph having an off game. That's just not his game. So you do that. Wiggins off. I know Oubre and Poole was going to get off. That's why the game went down the stretch. That was the only thing that saved the Warriors. But I mean, yeah, that's what he's supposed to do, man. You can't let great players just get comfortable and torch you. Otherwise, it's going to be a long night. And then, yeah, I would agree with the negative comments towards Scott Brooks. Like, he got to go because there's no adjustments. There's no game plan. He just the best players just come there and having career nights. But, it was a good win, man. And that's why they're 7 in a row right now.
Ray, anything you want to chip in here?
Not much, man. No, I just agree wholeheartedly with the comment. I mean, that's the type of attention you have to give Steph. And the scary part about it is it's not even guaranteed to work. So yeah, man, kudos to them. And kudos to the players for being able to execute.
All right, on to the next one. I think, Ray, you got first dibs on this one. It's Derek Johnson again. Fellas, do you guys feel this win streak and playoff push should save Scott Brooks' job?
I mean, we've been kind of having this ongoing conversation the whole season about don't ever feel like his job should have been threatened in the first place, especially in a year like this. I mean, we're never going to accept or excuse underperforming and losing, but I mean, this has been an uphill climb for everyone. You got to take things into perspective, and it's and it's not like they're just throwing in the towel and waving a white flag. They've shown promise at different points in the season, even when in the beginning of the year when they were dropping those games, they were in those games and winning a lot of them, but just faltered down the stretch, and like they were competing against teams like Philadelphia and the Nets and teams at the top of the league. So it's not like they were just out there looking crazy. Even there were games when they fall behind by these huge margins and able to fight back and still be there when late in the fourth quarter. So, man, I think in a court of public opinion, yeah, this might have gave him a little more leeway, but as far as I'm concerned, I don't think there ever should have been a conversation surrounding removing him.
My bad, Cardo.
Almost definitely. Do him a solid, extend him, keep him here, keep the consistency going, man. It's not just consistency with players getting better. How about keep some consistency with the organization? Nothing is guaranteed, man. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to just get new coaches just cause, and it's no reason. They're playing well. Look what they're doing now. You know what I'm saying? Like, they play hard for the dude, so that means they're responding. They're alert. They're going. So imagine next year when Denny's healthy, Thomas Bryant's healthy with what you have. That they're going to be that much better. And who knows what they may add in a draft or via free agency or maybe a trade. Who knows what Tommy has cooking up? We don't know yet. So yeah, you rock with that, man. You know what I'm saying? Keep this core staff going and try to build. And then, the way they looking, they'll be in the playoffs, at least in the play-in spot. Try to build where, all right, we going next year, the goal should be we going to make a deep run into the playoffs. Now Russ will be healthy. Him and Bill will have more chemistry. Guys will be better. Having played in the system, guys will be healthy. I can't wait to see the Thomas Bryant Gafford line up together. I think that's just gonna be crazy with Rui. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's gonna be a nice starting five. Let's be real. If Gafford gets that, if he earns that, you know what I'm saying? So, they building something, man. They got something to build off of. You can see the foundation, man. So keep that going. We all know growing up here too often times with the bullet years and Wizards and all that, they get momentum, then they just make dumb trades and just let people go. And then it's back to lottery and it's back to us talking like the Wizards won 28 games, man. That was pretty good. A lot of improvement for them. Very good. Whereas the rest of the league, 28 wins, that means everybody getting fired. So, keep the momentum going. We don't want to see those days, man. Lord knows we don't want to see those days. No.
All right. Do y'all feel like I feel like you guys are answering these questions without seeing the comments. But here we go from Juan RNG. Do y'all feel like the team we have now can win a championship? And you guys think we are far from that? I think Cardell, you're first on this one. Right?
Y'all need to relax. Like,
that's a big word to be using.
Chill out, though. Yeah, we ain't no. This is being real. Hell no, not right now. Bro, they trying to fight just to get back in the playoffs. They're not even 500. Like,
yeah.
Look, every year it's a handful of teams that got a legit shot at that ring, and the Wizards ain't one of them. I'm trying to be polite. Let's be real. The Bucks, you can say the Bucks and Nets, Philly, in the East. Then you got to go out, obviously, the LAs, Utah in that mix. You got Phoenix, and maybe, Portland maybe have an outside chance, whatever. It's not that many teams where you can be like, they got a shot at winning the ship. You know what I'm saying? Let the Wizards grow. They're young. They got injuries. Let them young boys grow around Bill and Russ, and we'll see what can happen in the next 2-3 years or something like that. But right now, nah, don't do that. No, don't do
that. Yeah, they're scraping the bottom of the playing situation. So I don't think championship should be in their vocabulary right now. Just continue to build on what you're doing, and maybe one day down the line we can start to think about having a conversation. But at the moment, let's just take it a day at a time, man.
All right, on to the next one. I think you're first, Ray, on this one. Russ not top 5. You're tripping, but at the end of the day, that's your list. There are a couple of players you named that don't have rings by your criteria. If you want to put Steph and Magic or even Isaiah above him, that makes sense. But not GP and Kid, those are just your preferences. Those guys aren't above him as a top 5 PG all time. Let's be real.
Russ not top 5. You tripping? First of all, whenever somebody disagrees with someone, the first thing they say is you tripping. But then I don't see any any logical explanation to back that up. I mean, like,
Thank you.
so you just said a bunch of words, like you didn't really explain why you would say that you tripping. But I mean, yeah, it's obvious. And last time I checked, I think Gary Payton and Jason Kidd have rings. So
Yep.
yeah, I don't really understand the comment, but yeah, man, I don't know, man. Like I get the fascination with the triple doubles and all that, but we got to keep things in perspective, man. Like we're talking about a guy in Gary Payton that's the only point guard to win Defensive Player of the Year. Many other accomplishments in his career, including a championship. You know, and he's been to the finals multiple times. One of the greatest defensive players ever. And Jason Kidd, I mean, I think his resume speaks for itself. There was this team called the Nets when they were still in New Jersey that he took the back-to-back finals. And before he got there, they were terrible. I definitely think the work that Gary Payton and Jason Kidd put in warrants them being discussed above where Russell Westbrook is. And that's no shot at Russ. He's a great player as well. But I mean, come on, man. We gotta we gotta keep things real. And again, if you're gonna say somebody's tripping, at least explain why you think that instead of just saying you tripping and these two guys aren't above him. Why aren't they above him? Like, there's no meat to your argument. So, yeah, that's all I got, man.
Cardell, you want to chime in on this one, or you want the next one?
Oh hell yeah! It's to me, yeah. Well, I mean, Raymond, he don't have any logic with it because he don't know what he's talking about. That's how a lot of people argue. He has no recollection of Gary Payton. It's obvious, and Jason Kidd playing outside of a quick minute highlight on Twitter or something like that. He ain't seen him play because you want to say, first of all, you may disagree. But you damn sure want to be saying you tripping. Like you acting like I'm saying, like, with all due respect, like Brian Shaw is a top 5 point guard. No disrespect or something like that. Like I'm not. That's not who I'm saying. I'm talking about Gary Payton. Like Raymond said, the only point guard that win NBA Defensive Player of the Year, who's routinely a 28 assist guy, 2-3 steal guy, who took Michael Jordan, the greatest team of all time, the 72 win Bulls, to 6 games. You know what I mean? Like, y'all you can't ignore the damage these guys have done. And keep in mind, he was doing this. He excelled at excellence on both ends of the floor for his career. Mm-hmm. Even when he was older and winning a championship with the Miami team with D Wade and Shaq and those guys, and he got D Wade got Finals MVP over the Mavericks and stuff. He was a key contributor. He even hit a clutch shot in the playoffs. I think it was against the Bulls or whatnot. Oh no, Detroit hit a tough shot that helped them win, helped them go in advancing. Thought Detroit going to keep on and face the Mavs. So you gotta get credit. Jason Kidd, with how Russell Westbrook was getting the triple double, Jason Kidd was getting that all the time in his prime. Matter of fact, he took a dormant franchise to the finals 2 years in a row. People don't know Marbury was the point guard the year before Jason Kidd came to New Jersey, and Jason Kidd was the point guard for Phoenix. All they did was swap them two. And Phoenix went out in the first round. Next thing you know, Jason Kidd got them boys going to the finals in back-to-back years. Throwing lobs to Kenyon Martin, Richard Jefferson like it was clockwork. When people thought they had nothing. And then was key in helping the Mavs finally get on the hump and get the championship in 2011 when they beat who they beat? The big three: LeBron, Chris Bosh, D Wade. Y'all remember that? He was the point guard on that team. So what are you talking about? Bottom line is, man, great player, great player. I said it before. Great player, great player. You line them up. The great player with the rings will always have the edge, especially if they are factor. Now they're just along for the ride, just in the warm-ups. I can get your point. I get it. But they on the floor making an impact, especially if they leading the way, they get the edge. So it's not even a conversation if they top five. Huh? What are we talking about here, man? And this is from a crew that mess with Russ. Y'all gotta stop being so emotional, think with logic, man. It's not that difficult, dog. Y'all emotional as hell, man.
That is the funniest part. No one here has an issue with Russ. Contrary to popular belief, I think some of you feel like we can't stand him. If anything, like respected Russ since UCLA, respected him every year in the league. And again, I think I said this last time. There are things that are shortcomings to his game where I don't even harp on because of his overall impact. Because I feel it's unfair to him. Impact he has on a great game is so great that I'm not going to be petty and be like, well, look at his shooting percentages. Because it doesn't matter. Again, this is three people that have respect for Russ. And the other thing is, some of you, I know, like, we can fast forward 10, 15 years after Russ isn't playing. Y'all are going to feel a similar type of way where there's somebody else in the league and someone's telling you that there's a point guard, a young athletic point guard that's way better than Russ. And y'all going to be like, he don't even have the same impact. And I hope I'm just around to see how y'all respond to that, because it's what happens all the time. But that's why it's intriguing and at least entertaining to me. But on to the last one of this evening. Lesson out the blue. Hey, bro, don't mention John Stockton in the same breath as Russ. You're not taking him over Russ ever.
Why don't people like John Stockton? Is it because he's white and he got short shorts? He don't pass the eye test?
Oh, no.
I think that's really what it is. Nah, we can keep it a buck. That's what it is. I know. I think that's what it is, man. Because think about it. If he showed up in the hood, we didn't know who he was. We were like, everybody at the gym would be like, yeah, we gonna murder that white boy. What is he doing here? Come on now. Let's be for real. John Stockton, the only thing missing from his resume is rings, literally. And no shame of his, he just happened to lose to the greatest player to ever play the game. And they were in the middle of at the end of a dynasty. Yeah, he pushed them. He pushed them to 6 games. Very few people push Mike in the finals, man. There's a reason for that, dog. Let's read off his resume. Since you said I'm not taking him over Russ, like that's some crazy idea or something like that, which I am taking him over Russ at this current stage. He's a 10-time All-Star, All-Star Game MVP, 11-time All-NBA player, 5-time All-NBA defensive team, 9-time assist leader. Keep in mind, he led the league in assists 9 straight years. All right. 2-time steals leader. He's the all-time leader in steals and assists. At his peak, 17 points and 14 assists at his peak and 3 steals. That's at his peak. Oh, my bad. Efficiency for his career, 51% from the field shooting, 38% from three-point range shooting, and 82% from the free throw line. Oh, and by the way, he only turned the ball off through his career 2.8 times a game. Meanwhile, he was playing 82 games a year all the way until he was 40 years old. In an era far more physical than what you're seeing right now. Now, the same dude you're talking about, Gary Payton said that's the most difficult dude he ever had to deal with in the league, including Michael Jordan, the LeBrons, the Kobe. He said that was his hardest matchup because he couldn't do nothing with Stockton. He couldn't get in his head enough. All Stockton did was play. And he said the reason why Josh Stockton was so efficient, it drove Gary Payton, a defensive-minded point guard, crazy. He didn't even need a lot of shots. For John Stockton's career, he only attempted 9 shots a game, but he made 51% of them. So he don't need a lot of shots to light you up, and he was clutch. The first time Utah got to the finals to play the Bulls, he hit the 3 in Houston the summer there. It wasn't Karl Malone, nobody else. You know the famous game when Michael Jordan hit the last shot, he stripped Karl Malone, hit the last shot. About 50 seconds prior, under a minute to go, Stockton hit the go-ahead 3 to put him up 3. And then that's when Mike had to put on his cape and get the game back. So I'm really not understanding. Baron Davis, one of the most talented all-around point guards to ever play, talent-wise. Injuries stopped him from reaching his full peak, but talent-wise, he could do it all. Super athletic, 6'3", 220, super athletic, had all the skills in the book. IQ, true point, could score, whatever you need. Baron Davis said in an interview, John Stockton had him question if he could play basketball because he was tearing his ass up so bad. Like, y'all gotta learn the game and stop just watching highlights and really watch full games of how these dudes play. John Stockton will serve your ass, and he don't say nothing. He'll give you 15 to 15 by halftime, and literally, like Baron Davis, have you questioning if you should be in the NBA or not. Kenny Smith said the same thing. His first game against John Stockton, he said this dude looked like a car salesman. He ain't gonna do nothing to me. And he said John Stockton had 20 and 20 by halftime. Yeah, Kenny Smith from TNT. That's a thorough ass whooping. And John Stockton don't say nothing, but he'll just look at you. And these are dogs he's killing. He ain't just killing cupcakes. These are dogs. He got them just going crazy. Like, what the f is going on? Y'all really gotta learn the game, man. Get off this emotion, dog. Like, who raising y'all? Who teaching y'all? John Stockton would bust a lot of these point guard ass that's in the league now. It would be bad. And he ain't even trying to score. And keep in mind, he only played with one Hall of Famer. I love Russ, but he had a lot more talent around than John Stockton. But yeah, he seemed to always get them to the Western Conference Finals and to the finals a lot of years. So, and I'm not even trying to make this a comparison to try to diss Russ, because Russ, he would be a first ballot Hall of Famer for the millionth time. But to disrespect John Stockton, y'all need to cut that out. Because trust me, it's a lot of teams that can use John Stockton right now. And some of y'all favorite point guards that y'all hold dear now that's playing right now, he will rough them for that starting job. Trust me on that.
Bro, that man career, he ended his career average was 10.5 assists for the career. That man, even in the down years, like that peak was that high that it fell to 10.5. Y'all understand that it fell to 10.5?
Wilson at 40. It's like he's a 6'1" point guard that couldn't even jump. Look at this. At 40 years old, my man averaged 10 points, nearly 8 assists, 7.7 assists, 1.7 steals, only turned the ball over 2.2 times, 48% from the field, 36% from 3, 82% from the free throw line, and he played all 82 games. Dog, it's point guards in the league that would take that now in their early 20s. He was doing that at 40. Come on, man. Like, what are we talking about here? He could have kept on playing.
Right.
For real, he just retired because like, he could have kept on playing. Like, why you leave, dog? You playing at a high level. We get too our community get too infatuated with just scoring, and this no diss to Russ at all. This ain't about him, but athleticism and scoring, and we use that to dictate if a player is good. And if you have that, great. But it's other aspects of the game you could dominate. Like it's one playoff year, and I remember this because him and Magic was going at it in the playoffs, and my man literally averaged 15 and 15. For the playoffs. Like, that's stupid. I'm trying to figure out. Here we go. Yeah, right here. So in the 89-90 season in the playoffs, I think they lost the 5 games to the Lakers. Keep in mind, Magic still prime Magic. 1.2 steals and only 2.8 turnovers a game. All right. I'm literally trying to figure out, like, that's insane. And keep in mind, at this stage in his career, he wasn't even a good 3-point shooter. He shot 42% from the field. He only attempted 2 3-pointers a game, and free throw percentage was 80%. But he still managed to average 15 to 15. Those are sick numbers. So that's 30 points he just handing out before he even scored. That's 30 points he's responsible for. And he ain't giving you a chance to beat him because he's not turning the rock over like that. You see how we become accustomed to 4 and 5 turnover games from the top point guards? Now y'all understand why we like that's unacceptable. We grew up in an era if you had 2 or 3 coaches tripping.
Mm-hmm.
That's the standard. But the bar has been lowered in a lot of ways. We gotta cut this out, man. I don't understand. Y'all gotta grow. Oh, and the very next year in the playoffs, he averaged 18 points, 13.8 assists, 2.2 steals, and he improved 53% shooting from the field, 40% shooting from 3, and he took more, and 84% shooting percent from the free throw line. The boy was always on the verge of 50, 40, 90. And you got to deal with him because he don't miss games. See, it ain't like today he he playing every game, so you're going to have to see him. So you can't duck that rep. So he going to give you good 17, 15, 3 steals. He going to rip you. And he only going to take 10 shots, but he going to make about good 5 to 6, between 5 to 7 of those shots, and they going to hurt. And then you're going to be fouling him, and he going to the free throw line. He making all of those. But, yeah, I'm not going to take that. I got you.
Man, put a clinic on for years. And
Thank God some of y'all not GMs, man. It'd be some trash teams.
Oh boy.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't want to thank y'all for hanging with us tonight. I'm sure the comment section will be fun. Headed into, we'll see you guys after Sunday night they play the Cavs. So I'm sure it'll be some fun comments by then. As always, we appreciate you guys. Y'all have a good night. Enjoy your Saturday. For Cardell, Ray, and myself, catch you guys on Sunday night.